Talk about it. Jesus Christ. Hey, we live now, really. Hey, we live now, really. Really? Man, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Whew, we got a lot to get into today. Did you read the title? Are you understanding what's going on? There has been new developments. And yeah. And when I say we gotta talk about it, when I say we must talk about it, when I say we will talk about it, yeah, that's what we're here for. So if you haven't heard, if you've been living under a rock, or if you haven't been paying attention to anything that's been going on in the world, there's a man named Nolan Wells, a young man who lost his life not too long ago. I will eventually get into breaking down the whole story. But Nolan Wells was supposedly last seen on July 4th. Nolan Wells was a college athlete, a beloved college athlete, and he wind up missing July 4th, the day of America's 250th birthday. Nolan Wells, he was, like I said, an athlete, a swimmer. He can swim a little bit. That's what his mom said. That's what his family has said. And somehow, he washes up on the shore on Monday, July, what is that, 6th? On Monday, July 6th. And it's been told that at some point he was unrecognizable. At some point, his family couldn't identify him. At some point, things got fishy. Today, we're about to learn why things got fishy, and we're going to get into some of the things that's circling around the internet. Because if you haven't heard, Nolan Wells' family spoke out on Good Morning America last week. With Nolan Wells, his family speaking out, you got to understand. You have to understand that, man, oh man, the timestamps have been found. Nolan Wells' mom spoke that they just wanted justice. They just want to understand why this happened. This is about to get crazy. This story is about to get turned on its head. This story we're about to get into it. Holy. But that's not Nolan Wells. But we're about to get into it all. Give me 2 seconds. Because I got to set this up in a way that, in a way that you're going to be able to understand. In a way that we all going to be able to understand. Because there's a lot of talking. And what's the real truth? What is the real truth? The one video that sparked my interest right away, that got me to want to, actually, why would I even show that video? Pause. I got another video for you. Can we get into it? Can we talk about it? Jesus Christ. I'm trying to set this up in a way that we all gonna be able to understand, in a way that we all gonna really be able to comprehend. Yeah, y'all. It's about to be one of them ones. Make sure you got your popcorn ready. Make sure that you set aside a little bit of time for what's gonna come. Because when I tell you we're about to get into it, we about to get into it. When I tell you we about to uncover it, we about to uncover some things. When I tell you it's about that time, oh my goodness, it's about that time. This video gonna break down a timeline, gonna talk about some new developments, and we gonna further continue to understand. Oh my goodness, hold on. We're gonna further learn to understand what really happened. My guy, break it down for us. Talk to me.
Percent clear. The sole reason why I am covering this new development in the Nolan Wells case is because the lead attorney, Benjamin Crump, just posted about it on his Instagram. And the latest development is that Nolan Wells was alive July the 5th, and he did return from Horn Island. And not only has attorney Benjamin Crump been posting this in his feed, he has also been reposting it in his stories. I am going to walk you through a timeline over the past 24 hours, starting with multiple emails I received with this latest development. Then I'm going to play a video for you that gives you detailed information about this new development. We're going to go over the timeline. We're going to go over what this means in the case. And then I'm going to tell you what Nolan Wells' mom has to say about this latest development. Sit back, relax. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the most shocking development since this case started. And then I'll hand it off to you, the out louder. So let me know what you think in the comment section below.
Whew. It's time we get to it. It's time we get to it. Is this all right with you? Oh, are you serious? Hold on. Jesus Christ. Let me go ahead and get to it, man. $20 years later, 2 hours later, we gonna get there. We gonna get there. First,
You have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Tashima, and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Tashima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone, they tracked it. And that highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing.
Ooh. So, Nolan Wells is now being reported that he was actually seen. It is now being reported that Nolan Wells is actually, he was alive going into the day of July 5th. Oh my goodness. It is about to get spooky, man. It's picking up steam for a lot of different reasons. Benjamin Crump. Benjamin Crump, if you don't know him, he just posted something on his Instagram. And things are about to really get crazy. Attorney Crump. The streets are talking. That's what he said in a post. Let's see what Miss got to say about it. Break it down for us, please.
Now, the only reason I'm posting this is because Ben Crump has now posted it. There is some speculation that Nolan Wells actually made it back to shore, and he attended a pool party on July 4th. Attorney Ben Crump said, "I don't know if these are facts or rumors because no official statements have been made. We sometimes have to follow the clues until we find the truth." Now, there's a girl named Alicia who claims that she was at this pool party. And she said, "Bro, No didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend. No and Wyatt did get into an altercation right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone and even was trying to be hard on Nolan. Nolan said, 'Ninja, give me my phone back.' He said, everybody calmed down and they headed over somebody named Evan's house because he was throwing a pool bar." And she said, yes, No came to the pool party and yes, we were drinking, but Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew was really high off their rocker. They were trying to get girls Lucy and Natalie to have some, party favors too. Then Alicia said, well, yes, they got into it again at the pool party and it ended at almost 1 a.m. She said Evan's mom kicked them all out. She said once they started fighting, it was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt and Warren was basically recording and laughing, saying, get him. And all I could hear was No screaming mom. She said she tried to help, but Evan's mom came out screaming and telling everybody to leave because she was going to call the cops. The important part, she said, but they did not let No leave. And No was by the basketball goal inside the pool. He was leaning over besides gasping for air and spitting up blood. Alicia made it very clear that she did tell Nolan's mother. And this is Evan's thread. I'm not sure if this is Nolan or not, but if it is, them allegedly cleaning that boat at like 3 a.m. makes sense. Them saying that Evan made it back to shore, one of their statements makes sense, but we still have to wait for the autopsy. Only reason I'm sharing this is because attorney Ben Crump shared it, and I want to make sure I stay on track with him. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack. That is a lot to unpack. Holy. But we got to do it. So as we go down this rabbit hole and go down of trying to put the pieces together, I want to remind you that at the end of the day, we just want justice for Nolan. Whether this actually happened like this, or if it's true, whether it's not, we want justice for Nolan. Point blank, period. Justice for Nolan. Benjamin Crump. The attorney, Benjamin Crump, posted this literally on his Instagram. This picture. If it wasn't Nolan, why would they post it? Why would the attorney of Nolan post this? To try to stir up the waters? No. Is this really Nolan? And my question is, if this is Nolan, why the hell they got this circled red over here? What happened over there? But if we read the post, it says repost from such and such. Nolan Wells investigation update. The streets are talking. Now listen, I don't know if these are facts or rumors because no official statements have been confirmed. We sometimes have to follow all the clues until the truth is found. Here is what was discovered on social media last night. Social media allegations claim a photo exists of Nolan at a land-based pool party in Jackson County before 1 a.m. on July goddamn 5th. So the judge in this story gave that statement a couple days ago, remember? Saying that her son last saw Nolan at 3 o'clock. She gave a statement saying that. But Nolan was at your house at 1 o'clock in the morning? Holy smokes. The same judge who pulled this is gave a statement saying, we ain't seen Nolan. My son said he last seen him at 3 o'clock the other day. What? But this is him at a pool party at your house. The same judge who gave that statement. Holy. What is really going on here? Benjamin Crump, what did you have to post on your story? Okay. Okay. Lady. Hold on. Y'all going too fast. Bear with me. This lady says she was parked right next to Nolan Wells' group. Swipe the slide. We were parked right next to them, and he was nowhere in sight when we left at 7:30. Interesting. This is 22 hours ago. Attorney Crump posting all this on his story. Why would you be posting this? You're an attorney. Let's continue. Next.
For those of you who may not know me, let me introduce myself. I'm Kimberly. I'm a former law professor with a JD LLM, a musical artist, a comedian, and a racial relations pioneer in the South. Now, I have been investigating the medical examiner. Okay, now this raises some alarm.
Hold on. Whoa.
For those of you who may not...
We got to check this all the way.
For those of you who may not know me, let me introduce myself. I'm Kimberly. I'm a former law professor with a JD LLM, a musical artist, a comedian, and a racial relations pioneer in the South. Now, I have been investigating the medical examiner, Dr. Stacy Turner in Mississippi, and I have already found that she has been responsible for misreporting the homicides of 2 Black men chased by police. Damian Cameron was beaten by police to a pulp, and Dr. Turner reported it as undetermined when 3 separate pathologists stated that it should have been a homicide. This is Mr. Cameron, rest in peace, that Dr. Turner reported was undetermined. Then you have Corey Howard, who was found dead in the marsh after being chased by police into the woods after a traffic stop, and again, not ruled a homicide. The State Medical Board needs to open an investigation immediately regarding Dr. Stacy Turner. He needs to be removed for inefficiency, according to the Attorney Ben Crump. Somebody please have the Medical Board of Mississippi dig into Stacy Turner. She is 0 for 2 in covering up for the police within a series of 4 years. And I've only been investigating for a day. So let's see what else she's been doing wrong.
Whoa.
For those of you who may not know me, okay, now this raises some alarms. I don't know if this is true, but I've just read that they saw these boys cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. in front of the judge's house. And from my knowledge, the judge's son... Okay, now this raises some alarms. I don't know if this is true, but I've just read that they saw these boys cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. in front of the judge's house. And from my knowledge, the judge's son was not the boat owner. So now, why did you bring the boat to the judge's house, and why are you cleaning it at 3 a.m. when y'all got back at 4? Now we have some questions. If this is true, now we need to start sounding the alarms, because what's going on? And we've been knew the cops fucked up by not talking to him and all that, but the boat cleaning at 3 a.m. in front of the judge's house, magnifying glass. Let's look into this. Okay, now this raises some alarms. I don't.
Wow.
Okay, now this raises.
Let's continue. They standing behind him. Yeah. Y'all ain't gonna get away with this. That's Wyatt. Why is this man looking like that? Who daddy is this in a pool with them? That's somebody dead right there. You too old to be here at this pool party with these young folks. But why is you hugging him like this? What's going on in this picture? Interesting. Interesting. Keep on sharing his post in his honor. Dun, dun, dun. So, those were Benjamin Crump's posts for today. 2 posts obviously stood out more than others. The boys cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. Now, I want to bring this video back and play it one more time for the people in the back, just so that way we can have an understanding about what's really going on here. All right, let's play this video one more time, because I think she put it all together for us.
The only reason I'm posting this is because Ben Crump has now posted it. There is some speculation that Nolan Wells actually made it back to shore, and he attended a pool party on July 4th. Attorney Ben Crump said, "I don't know if these are facts or rumors because no official statements have been made. We sometimes have to follow the clues until we find the truth." Now, there's a girl named Alicia who claims that she was at this pool party. And she said, "Bro, No didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend. No and Wyatt did get into an altercation right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone and even was trying to be hard on Nolan. Nolan said, 'Ninja, give me my phone back.' He said, everybody calm down, and they headed over somebody named Evan's house because he was throwing a pool bar. And she said, yes, No came to the pool party, and yes, we were drinking, but Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew was really high off their rocker. They were trying to get girls Lucy and Natalie to have some, party favors too." Then Alicia said, "Well, yes, they got into it again at the pool party, and it ended at almost 1 a.m. She said Evan's mom kicked them all out. She said once they started fighting, it was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt and Warren was basically recording and laughing, saying, 'Get him, get him.' And all I could hear was No screaming, 'Mom.' She said she tried to help, but Evan's mom came out screaming and telling everybody to leave because she was going to call the cops." The important part, she said, but they did not let No leave. And No was by the basketball goal inside the pool. He was leaning over, besides gasping for air and spitting up blood. Alicia made it very clear that she did tell Nolan's mother. And this is Evan's.
So if she told Nolan's mother this, why do you think now that they went on a Good Morning America, now that the story is spreading around even more, and now it's becoming a nationwide story? Think about it. Because the facts aren't all the way out yet. Nolan's family, they're playing it smart. They're not jumping to conclusions. They're willing to let this play out. That's why behind the scenes, they hired their own investigator, had their own separate autopsy done. Boom, boom, boom. Because they know Nolan's mom's Nolan's mom has to be strong. Because deep down, and from what Nolan's friends even told her, what the hell happened? That's why they letting this slowly play out. Don't rush to conclusions. Don't rush to judgment. But let's just play out. And if that judge who released a statement saying, we last saw Nolan at 3 o'clock, and I agree, and I'm with my son. I stand by my son. The judge's statement. The judge's statement. Bruh. She released a statement. She released a statement, dog, saying that my son and we ain't seen him. He was at your house at 1 o'clock in the morning partying? Oh, shit. If this is true, excuse my French, but if this is true, boy, we just getting started.
Thread. I'm not sure if this is Nolan or not, but if it is, them allegedly cleaning that boat at like 3 a.m. makes sense. Them saying that Evan made it back to shore, one of their statements makes sense. But
Clean the boat at 3 a.m. Makes sense.
it makes sense. Them saying that Evan made it back to shore, one of their statements makes sense. But we still have to wait for the autopsy. Only reason I'm sharing this is because attorney Ben Crump shared it.
The only reason she shared it is because attorney Ben Crump shared it. Dog. If that picture in the thumbnail, you see, I put the picture in the thumbnail if you're on YouTube. If you ain't on YouTube, hey, I'll go ahead and post it. But let's continue to watch this clip because my man hit it on the head.
Not so reputable, smaller pages, and I didn't think too much of it. But like I said at the top of the video, when I saw attorney Benjamin Crump post about it, that is when, to me, this story got a lot more solidified. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you. I am not 100% convinced, and I'll show you in a minute why, because of the caption that attorney Benjamin Crump put once he posted this picture. But let me get to this. Let me tell you a little bit more about the development of the story. I'm not going to read the full thing, but I'm going to put 2 more screenshots, and then I'm going to play a video, and then we'll get into the details.
So, what this screenshot is showing that he's saying, let's zoom in. Let's read it ourselves. Elisa Spencer, if this is true, it's confusing. Nolan went to the pool party after the island. How did his body get discovered? And what are you saying? They beat him up at the pool. Why wait until now to tell his mother? Kylie, his mother knew, ma'am. I've been told her, yes. Andrew was trying to keep us quiet and trying to put fear into us because he bigger than all of us. But I told no, mom. And that's why the private autopsy was made. But yes, it was a big fight at Evan house at the pool that same night. But yes, Wyatt and Andrew and Evan was jumping him. What the fuck? After Evan's mom threatened to call the cops on everybody to leave her and threatened to call the cops, everybody left her house, but Nolan didn't want it. He wanted his phone. So Nolan stayed because even though he beat him up, he was trying to still get his phone. He didn't think that they was going to continue to escalate the situation and actually try to take his life after he just wanted his phone. So I can now piece it together why Nolan would stay. His witnesses there. This is your chance to leave, big dog, and get up out of there. But nah, hey, I ain't leaving. Let me get my phone first. Let me get my phone. Yeah, just be me. Let me get my phone. Then Evan's mom, or Wyatt's mom, whoever's mom it is, getting them all out of there. Holy fucking shit. Y'all think just because it's Mississippi, I can get away with this shit? Yeah, all right. Holy smokes. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading because this is getting spicy now. Wow. I hope the truth will come to light Nolan gets the justice he deserves. Yes, ma'am, my brother's going to get justice. The truth is out. They took him back to the island that Monday morning around 4 a.m. They found him, I think, 8. And guess what? If the investigation proves to be true, if they start the real fucking investigation and actually arrest these dudes, these clowns, and just check their phones. Because if it shows that they went out to the island that Monday morning, boom, case over. If they went back out to that island Monday morning and it pinged, you know the idiots brought their phones. You know the idiots brought their phones. And if Evan's mom, the judge, this story right here, oh my goodness. This might just be monumental. Monumental. Because, boy, it's so many twists and turns. And if a judge broke the law to help her kid, instead of just taking him to jail, maybe potentially letting him get manslaughter or something like that, or not even manslaughter, just, hey, my son got in the fight. Hey, it's easier to watch that. My kids jumped this black kid. Yeah, it would have got crazy, but then again, that's easier to come back from. But now you covering up a murder?
Of what the caption said with attorney Benjamin Crump.
If this
Go to
true,
the next picture. Now, for those of you who want to read,
trust me, for those of us who want to read it, we're going to read it. We're going to read it. Bro, No didn't get into the fight at the island. It was our other friend. No and Wyatt got into an altercation right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone. And Evan was trying to be hard. Nolan definitely screaming, give me my phone back, N-word. What the hell's wrong with you? So they all calmed down. So that's when we head to Evan's house because he was throwing a pool party. So yes, No came back to the party. And yes, we was drinking. But Wyatt and Evan and Martin and Andrew was really high. And I think they was trying to get Lucy and Nat to try something as well. But yes, they got into it again at the pool party. It didn't end until almost 1 a.m. I don't even know Evan's mom. She kicked us all out. So she don't know what happened because Evan's mom kicked them all out. Once they started fighting, it was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt and Warren basically recording and laughing, saying, get him. And all I could hear was No screaming mom. So yes, I tried helping. Then his mom came out screaming, yelling, drunk, made us leave, and was saying she was going to call the cops on us if we didn't leave her house. But they didn't let No leave. And No was by the basketball goal. By the basketball goal. Was it about a hoop or about a about a soccer goal? What's she talking about? And that was inside the pool. But No was by the basketball goal that was inside the pool. Interesting. And he was leaning over beside it, gasping for air and spitting out blood. But now his mom, no, I just got off the phone with her. So she told this to his mom, and his mom now knows this. If this story is true, I'm not saying it is or I'm not saying it's not. No, obviously that is Nolan. But if this story is true, holy. That is crazy. That is crazy. Let's continue on with the video, though.
read the details with his friends. Now,
she said, obviously, now that's how they got his phone because I called. LOL. Whoa. Timeline now. So that night, she said, yeah, we got kicked out, but they was beating up Nolan. She tell Nolan's mom, hey, They was beating up Nolan. He got into a fight at the pool party. That's why his mom sent her friend, because Nolan's mom right now in this story where we at in the gap. So right now it's about 12 o'clock. She's saying she talked to Nolan's mom, say, hey, Nolan just got in a fight. They just beat him up. He over at the pool party. Okay. Nolan's mom is filing the investigation because she don't know what her son at, and she don't know whether this little girl's lying or not. She don't know her. Nolan's mom filing a police report to try to get an investigation for people to look for her son, right? She then tells her friend's mom, Javion's mom, to go ahead and go to the people's house because they probably was the closest. Hey, go get my son's phone now. Go ahead, go get his phone. So she said, obviously, I know that's how because that's how they got his phone, because I called, LOL, and his phone and keys was on top of his Xbox. That's why they requested him to have a private autopsy, LOL, because once they came, ooh, shoot.
Let's get to the video that summarizes all of this. Take a listen.
So allegedly, Nolan did leave the island, and he went back to Wyatt's house for a pool party. And during that pool party, there was an altercation between Wyatt, Nolan, Evan, and somebody else. And apparently they beat Nolan to death with some sort of bar or pole. There are people that are putting out witness statements stating that they were there and they saw Nolan spitting up blood and that these boys it on Nolan. They are saying that Evan's mother knew about the whole thing. And allegedly, they took Nolan's body back to the water. They're saying that this is the reason why it pinged on land at that house before they found that phone. This is why that boy told his daddy that Nolan was like a brother to me, when he showed up to get his car. It's because they already knew he was gone. Is this the reason why they needed dental records? Because he was unrecognizable?
Hold the phone. Because now I really want to get into it. Now I want to go back to what Nolan's father had to say when he got up there to talk for Good Morning America. When he got up there, holy. If you remember, when Nolan's father got up there to talk, he said something that she just repeated that will potentially turn out to be key in this case. Holy smokes. Let me find it for y'all. Yes, I do got a, cookies and cream shake. Let me live. But this right here will prove a lot. This right here will prove a lot. Hold on. God dang, where's the clip? Hold on, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. All right, while I'm looking for it, let's finish this.
This case is starting to bust wide open, and we all knew that something else happened to Nolan. Now the question is, which of the parents helped those kids?
I've seen plenty of power banks over my 15 years of review.
That's the real question. Which of the parents helped the fucking kids cover it up? Because that is what's going to take this story to a whole nother goddamn level. If it turns out that one of the parents is helping these kids cover up a murder, bro. America, we ain't seen nothing yet. Because if it turns out that one of these parents was helping they kid cover up a goddamn murder, bro, and the police was going to let this shit happen because they said it was just a drowning when they saw his body and they didn't even fucking recognize him. That's why the family had to go have an independent autopsy done. And then also why the family had to go to the what's in to try to get his dental records because he was unrecognizable potentially. And I hope the family, they released the picture of this because I don't want to say it out loud. I don't want to say it out loud. But we remember a story where we had an open casket way back when of someone. And it was because the parent wanted them to see his face. You know what story I'm talking about? Do I gotta say it? I don't want to say it. I'm hoping it's not the case. Let's get into this video real quick. This video might tell us a little something. Well, actually, let's get back to it. This video first. Oops, sorry.
My screen. You'll see at the top corner here that there's, I don't know, almost looks like where you would step out of the pool. Nobody knows why this is circled. Nobody knows what that is, but you'll see on the other side, there is where the basketball net is. That is what she's talking about. A couple of other things to note is in the 3 Facebook screenshots that I just showed you, it never says Nolan. It says Nono, N-O-N-O. It could be a nickname for Nolan. I have seen some things online that says that Javon has come out and said that this Facebook post is not about Nolan. But for those who watched my video yesterday, y'all know that like this whole Javon interview with TMZ is a little bit weird. So I don't know how much I trust Javon. That's one thing. We're going to get to the dental records in a second. For those who've been following me for the past week, you know about that conspiracy theory of the fact that there is alleged that on Monday when Nolan's body was discovered, he wasn't able to be identified right away and they needed dental records. I played that for you, which is the first conspiracy theory I talked about. I hate talking about conspiracy theories. But in that video, I also showed you a fact that Attorney Benjamin Crump said that Nolan's mom didn't identify the body. And if you guys remember on Monday when the body was discovered, it was 3 or 4 hours before we found out that it was Nolan. It was, the headlines were, there was a body that found, we don't know who it is. 3 or 4 hours later, it was identified, but it wasn't identified by his mom. We don't know who it was identified with. So this story could be true. That was the one thing where I was like, maybe it might be true. Because if you're just on the island and you're swimming off and you drown, you'd be able to be identified. If this story is true, which what Attorney Benjamin Crump just reposted and people are talking about, it would make sense that you would need to identify him with medical records if he got beat up by 4 people.
Factual. Is it not? But real quick, I want to touch on this. Ashley Cole coming to the front of the congregation. You ain't never been there before, but you're going to get used to it. Our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wells. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nolan's family. Our son, Warren, loved Nolan dearly. Unfortunately, I feel that it is appropriate for our family to dispel some rumors with facts based upon the social media attention that is getting diverted away from the Wells family and their loss. Yes, I deactivated my Facebook, given the very heightened emotional state of social media right now. I fear for the safety of my child and my children. My husband and I have 6 children that we blah, 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 blah. We did not believe in our minor children's photographs and circulated throughout the internet, blah, 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 blah. I graduated high school, blah, 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 blah. My husband, blah, 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 blah. My husband and I were not at Horn Island at the point on July 4th. No one in our family is trying in any way to impede the investigation by law enforcement or otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement's quest for answers. Warren was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and corroborated fully. He saw Nolan at around 3 p.m. on July 4th. He saw Nolan at 3 p.m. on July 4th around They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taken on water because they had an issue with the bitch pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. But Nolan was at your house, ma'am. If this picture is true, and this is Nolan at your house, ma'am, if this is Nolan at your house and you released a statement that says that your son last saw him at 3 p.m., how about we last saw him at 1 o'clock leaving my house? But that would open more questions. We want them to be shut and sealed. Yes, I am a judge. I also value transparency. If anyone was offended that I deleted my social media, there were no nefarious motivations in deleting my social media. Social media has a lot of positives, but a whole lot of negatives. We live in a world of clickbaiting, so sad but true. My family is hopeful that this information will help redirect their attention to the Wells family and their grief and need for the community and our support. Then she released another statement. We have decided that we will be not speaking to the press at this time. The media is not the appropriate forum to further elaborate on the facts of July 4th, 2026. We realize that the truth will not stop the calls for the death threats of our small children. We have not had the opportunity to speak to the Wells family on their attorney. However, we are willing to directly communicate with attorney Ben Crump and the Wells family. We will provide them with all the information known to us so the family can rest and properly mourn. We also want to know what happened to Nolan. We will do everything within our power to assist the Nolan's family in their quest for answers. Miss Ashley Cole, you gonna have to come back up to the congregation. Yeah, you receiving death threats, but ain't nobody feeling sorry for you. Because if he was at your house, if you was the one parent who helped cover this up, it's going to get scary. It's going to get spooky. And it's going to get real.
Okay. I'll talk about more of that in a second. Now, I want to show you guys what was the caption under this picture from attorney Benjamin Crump. That kind of makes me go, You'll see here, attorney Crump, and it says repost from, I'm not going to give this person any shout out, but by the way, this person has under 1,000 followers on Instagram, and no shame to anybody who has 2 followers or 2 million followers. All I'm just saying, it's not coming from CNN, ABC, NBC, or even like, let's say, like somebody from new media like myself, who is reputable, have gone through Diddy trials, Ashley Janae, who I have proven my credibility on this internet here. I haven't seen any sort of credibility from this person, so I'm scratching them off. Now, the repost is not attorney Benjamin Crump saying anything. He just reposted what this person said. Nolan Wells investigation update. The streets are talking. Now, listen, I don't know if these are facts or rumors because no official statement has been confirmed. We sometimes have to follow all clues until the truth is found. Here is what was discovered on social media last night. Social media allegedly claims a photo existing of Nolan at a land-based pool party in Jackson County before 1 a.m. July the 5th. Now, we all know the story that the boys say they didn't see him after what? I think 3 or 4:30, or they didn't see him after July the 4th at 3 o'clock. They left at 4:30. Katie said last time she saw him was on the island, but then there's a pool party at 1 o'clock. And this now, a week later, we're hearing about it. And now attorney Crump is posting saying he doesn't know if this is fact or fiction. So if you're the lead attorney in conducting the investigation, why are you reposting this, sir? But who am I to tell the Nolan family who to trust? You hire attorney Benjamin Crump, and I have worked with attorney Benjamin Crump. I've told you guys that with my Nike case a couple of years ago when I was suing Nike, and they are a very, very thorough office. I mean, I don't have to tell you about attorney Crump, George Floyd, etc. He's been around for years. So regardless of my experience with them and his history, I still question the fact of why he would post something and leave in the caption, we don't know if it's fact or rumors, but maybe he's just saying, hey, we don't know if it's fact or rumors and we need to explore everything. Maybe that is the case. I don't know. Now, here's a timeline that is circulating online. If the pool party ended at 1 a.m. at Evan's house, why call the Coast Guard at 11 p.m.? What time did Nolan's mom pick up the phone and from which friend's house? Now, I don't know if we know the time yet, but we know that Nolan's mom didn't pick up the phone from the Good Morning America interview. She said she sent her friend. And I don't know if she gave a date, but I'm going to assume that we all know that most people thought he went missing July the 4th. So I'm going to assume that she got back the phone July the 4th. That's what I'm assuming. She didn't say the date on her Good Morning America interview, but that's what I would assume. But if there's a party at 1 a.m., then maybe she picks up a phone July the 5th in the night. I don't know. If the party ended at 1 a.m. and they were cleaning the boat at 3 a.m., this means they had 2 hours to get rid of the body. How long does it take to get out to the boat launch and get to Horn Island and back? Legitimate question. Okay, here you'll see the person that first posted this picture, and now it has since been deleted. But you'll see here the timestamp that it was posted July the 5th at 2:53 a.m. Okay, now underneath this post,
and you know, posted July 5th at 2:53 a.m. You know that's when boys get back to the crib like, hey, I gotta hey for the gram though, gotta make sure the gram do. I have celebrated my 4th. And he sure did post it. All right.
There's this caption. Nolan Wells was alive on July the 5th, 2026 at 2:53 a.m. Based on a social media post attributed to one of Nolan Wells' lying friend, Nolan appears to have been alive at approximately 2:53 a.m. July the 5th, 2006. Nolan's father retrieved his keys from a female who was at the pool party, an account his father later discussed during an interview with Roland Martin. Okay, so that's a little bit off there. Nolan's father first said that at the press conference, the Al Sharpton press conference, he didn't receive the keys from a girl. He received it from Jax. Where the girl comes in is that Jax first lied and said, I don't have Nolan's keys. And then there was a girl that called in, or a girl that somebody knew that was like, hey, tell Nolan's dad to tell Jax that Nolan's keys are on top of the Xbox. So that's why people think that it was a girl. No, the girl just called Jax out. Okay. Now, Nolan's mom got wind of this story that this girl put out on Facebook and has everybody up in arms with this latest development, once again, including Benjamin Crump. Now, Nolan Wells' mom came out and said, she's not a close friend of our son's, and I've never spoken or met with her. Now, she doesn't say that this story is not true. She just said she hasn't spoken to her. She's never met. I don't know. But it doesn't sound too much like Nolan believes this story, or maybe she feels like there's some truth to it. I don't know. All I'm just saying is this doesn't read well. And I bring this story full circle back to, I can only imagine if Nolan's mom is sitting down here saying, she's not a close friend. I don't know this girl. I've never met with her. I never spoke with her. And my lead attorney is posting this on his Instagram and on his stories. I can just imagine what must be going on. And if this story turns out to be not true.
If you're so profitable, why do you sell a course? Well, you know what? Here you go. I don't care. It's all free. I'm giving it away.
Sorry, y'all. But if this story turns out to be either true or not true, regardless, it raises a lot of questions. The truth is going to come out. To sum all this up, the truth will come out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We will figure this out. But in the meantime, let's continue.
This will be a huge stain on Attorney Benjamin Crump's name, my opinion. Now, I just want to go over a few things or a few more details about this story, why it could be believable and why it could not be believable. Okay, the first story, why I find it hard for this story to be credible, is every single person in this picture, and quick count, let's say around 20 people. That would mean these 20 people are all in cahoots together and is lying to the police, because up until today, right now, nobody has seen Nolan after 7 p.m. July the 4th. If this picture was taken July the 5th at 1 a.m., that means all of these people are going to jail, because the police have conducted an investigation and none of these people have come out to say, he was at a pool party at 1 a.m. All these people would have to go to jail. So all these people, and there's probably more people at the party. So just quick math, that would mean that at least 40 to 50 people would have to be in cahoots to be lying about this and be willing to go to court to say that this story
You're making a good point.
is true. That's what would have to happen. Now, on the flip side,
talk to us.
One thing I do find a little suspicious about the original story is that Nolan went missing July the 4th. Nobody saw him after, let's say, roughly 4 or 5 o'clock. The Coast Guard was alerted, and there's skepticism about the Coast Guard and when they went out to look or whatever. But we do know that they went out to look July the 5th-ish. We don't know the time. But they did go out. They did not find him. They only found him July the 6th, which was Monday, around 9 a.m. Now, I'm not an expert on searching, but if you have a whole team out on Sunday, I find it a little bit weird that the body does only wash up or become closer to shore July the 6th. So this story could be true that, something happened to him July the 5th.
Uh-oh.
They dumped the body, they kept the body, they did something, and then went out and put him there at some time during July the 5th, and that's why I only found him July the 6th. That's why I'm still not too sure about this story. And then it also makes sense of why was the boat at the judge's house at 3 o'clock in the morning cleaning it? It would make sense if they beat him up so badly that they had to go there to clean the boat. Now, I understand, I've seen people in the comment section like, in salt water, you have to clean the boat. Yeah, not at your friend's mom's house who's a judge at 3 a.m. No, you clean it in the afternoon or you clean it in the morning, especially 18-year-old kids. Okay, so stop that. And then there's a question of the dental records, which is something that has been floating around all week that I have told you guys about. So there are another theory. There's just another layer to this. Do you guys believe this story? Do you not believe this story? I just gave you, 5 examples of how it could be true and 5 examples how it could not be true. I think for me, the best thing to do here is
let it play out. That's the best thing to do. Let it play out. Because at the end of the day, only time gonna tell. The time will reveal the truth in this story. Time. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. Because nothing else, whether it's true, false, can come from this story. Besides the truth. There's too many twists and turns. There's too many people involved. The truth will come out. But when? This is crazy, man. This is crazy. The timestamps. I need the timestamps, Mel. Y'all want to see another breakdown? Or did we break this down all the way? I mean, what is going on, man? What's going on? Let's get into this video.
This comment was made by someone who was at the pool party. Bro, Nono didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend. Nono.
We already got into all that. We ain't gonna do it again. But I wanted to come in and touch on that, man. It's a lot of twists and turns coming from this story. Only time will really tell what's gonna really happen and come from this. It's crazy. It's sad. But at the same time, it's about to get serious. It's about to get serious. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all be patient. Let's get into it. Oh, I'm lying. I'm lying. I said I wanted to get into it, but I don't really want to get into it. Because clearly, I'm not ready.
Come on in. I'm Judge Carlos Moore. I'm a retired municipal judge out of Mississippi. I served for 6.5 years on the bench in not only Clarksdale, Mississippi, but I served for 4 years on the bench in Grenada, Mississippi.
Okay.
So come on in, invite your friends, invite your family, invite your relatives. If you want to hear a real person's experience as a judge in Mississippi, opinion about whether or not there shouldn't be an immediate arrest or arrest of those suspected of foul play in relation to the death of Nolan Wells off the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. Come on in and hear it from the horse's mouth. Someone who had the authority to sign not only search warrants, but arrest warrants. Someone who presided over initial appearances, arraignments, and preliminary hearings for those accused of murder and other heinous crimes in Mississippi. I can talk now that I am a retired judge. Had I still been sitting as an active judge, I could not give you my opinion about an ongoing matter. But now I'm a retired judge and I'm a practicing lawyer in Tennessee. And I reside in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And I know the law and I can give you my unfiltered opinion.
Hurry up,
about the
dog.
near future. Happy to answer any questions that with actual experience or preliminary. So what do we know? The parents interview and reviewing tons of footage from social media, recounting interviews and statements of alleged witnesses that were on Horn Island. We know that Nolan Wells went to spend the night on July the 3rd with his so-called friends. And he went with those so-called friends to Horn Island on a boat on July the 4th. We know that out of the 4 people on that boat, 1 did not return home. That 1 person was Nolan Wells. The other 3 returned home as normal and said nothing to any member of law enforcement or to the Coast Guard until at least 11 p.m. at night on July the 4th. We know that at least 1 of the so-called friends was found with the phone of Nolan Wells. And we know this based on the testimony of the parents, specifically the mother, who tracked the phone and was led to the home of one of the young men where she retrieved the phone. We also know that based on the mother's testimony, that Snapchat. There were no Snapchats from the day, which was very odd for her son. We also know that text messages were deleted. We know that when she was tracking the phone, Life 360 said the phone was one place in Snapchat.
All right, y'all. Hold on. We're gonna get to the bottom of this, but we're gonna have to speed this up because he got some good information to say. But the monotone, the talking at snail space, I can't do it. I can't do it. Can't do it. So we're gonna speed this up and we're gonna get back to it. Hurry up.
Said it was another place. We know that the boy that had the phone did not voluntarily turn it over, call first. He had to be found through their own investigation. We know that based on witnesses' account, the so-called friends were seen on July 5th, that Sunday, having breakfast together like nothing had happened. They were.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Wrap it up. We got 10 seconds.
What happened to Nolan? Let's use the rest of this 10 seconds to ask his friends.
Okay, we all know what happened. He wanted to stay behind to talk to a girl. He was drinking. He was showing off. He went to the edge of an island where, if you know anything about islands, at the corner point tip of an island, when there's a channel, when the tides switch, it makes the currents very strong. At the tip of these sorts of islands, it always drops off. There's a shallow part, and then there's an abrupt drop. Gets really deep, happens all the time. I've seen it firsthand. I've worked on the beach as a lifeguard firsthand, had the radio, was able to hear when there were reports of people drowning or almost drowned or whatever. That's how it happens. People fall in all the time. They get carried away in the current. They panic, go under for like 45 plus seconds, and it's over. Not that complicated, not that deep, but that's not good enough for these people because of a concocted rumor.
These people. What people you talking about, miss? That's not good enough for these people? What you mean? Because we hearing a lot of stuff, miss. Hearing a lot of stuff. But you saying these people? Which group of people are you talking about?
From a group of people who hate our guts. They hate white people with a passion. And what they hate more is the fact that white people aren't lynching them.
I done been with I don't hate white people.
And what they hate more is the fact that white people aren't lynching them.
Nah, miss, we don't hate that y'all not lynching us. We thank y'all greatly for still letting us live, because if the roles were reversed and if we really was out for blood and if we really were people who want revenge and hold grudges, it'll be a little different. But let me let you continue.
The fact that white people aren't out killing people. It's the most, it's like, I don't know how many times to explain how normal this is, how many times this happens. Up in North Myrtle, where I used to lifeguard, there were people that would die.
We don't care about what you used to lifeguard, miss. We don't. Do you know what the facts are of this case? Do you know what really happened? Were you there? You weren't. So why are you rushing to judgment? I'm not rushing to judgment. I'm just reporting the facts. Some might be false. Some might be true. But you can only really get to the real source of what really happened once it all plays out. But for the detectives at the beginning of this case to rule that it was automatically a drowning instead of actually doing a proper investigation, instead of actually holding a proper investigation, instead of actually letting things play out, that's a problem. But us people that you talk about, don't generalize us, miss. Because I'd have been with y'all people a lot and inside y'all people a lot. So if we want to have a conversation, come on now, let's cut it out.
Die every year. And it was almost every time they died, it was at the end of the shoreline where there's the channel that goes out into sea, and the other side of the channel goes into the marsh and the wetlands and all these waterways. And when the tides would shift, the water would get extremely rough. The current was very swift. They had to have a specific lifeguard stand up there stationed. They had several people up there. They had ATVs because this was the danger zone. because it drops off abruptly, it gets really deep, and people lose their footing. They get into water overhead, they get a big swift current, and they're gone. That's how it happens. That happens all the time. There was an old Asian lady that died in the marsh. She was out walking. I believe it was early morning before she wound it up from under an old guy who was just water, like they call it the silent. See it. When people are drowning, you see it. They panic. They're just like not.
Okay, you're right. But ain't nobody see my man's drowning if this is the truth. So if you're right, if us people, we just don't want to accept the conclusion. We don't want to accept what happened. If us people are really feeling like this, miss, then how come ain't nobody try to help him? Was he at this magic island by himself? It was reported that multiple people camped out all night at this island. Please continue.
Not even trying to swim, and they panic. I have pulled so many people out of the surf doing that exact same thing. People drown all the time, and it's not even like what you would expect. It actually kind of blows my mind how easy it is to drown. It takes a couple seconds. It takes like 45 seconds for this to happen. And it happens all the time, and I've seen it all the time. I had 28 rescues, and they were all people who literally, if I wouldn't have got in there, they would have drowned, despite the fact that they're really close to shore. They just panicked, and their body stopped functioning. Care about explanations. They don't care about the truth. It's the most simple thing, but these people do not care about explanations. They don't care about the truth. All they want is this narrative that white people are killing blacks, and that's all they care about. That's literally all they care about. They don't care about the truth. In fact, they are going to actively cover up the truth. They're going to disregard the witness statements. They're going to disregard the statements of these boys, and they are going to persist in hounding this family until they get bored. Clearly an accident. Okay, so basically, don't be pushing a conspiracy theory that this was a murder if you know nothing about what you're talking about.
Mish, you don't know anything you're talking about. Respectfully. Actually, not respectfully. Disrespectfully. Because holy, us people? Dog, there's so many other things you could have said other than us people. I take offense to that. That's not nice. Your mother didn't raise you like that. Us people? Oh my goodness. Who raised you? Who raised you? Us people. But if this is truly Nolan Wells in this picture, and if he truly came back from the island, and here goes a clip that I was looking for 2 hours ago, when the father got his keys. Let's listen to the father talk about what happened when he tried to get his keys.
I walked up to the house and said, "I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get my son's keys."
After Nolan disappeared, his dad drove to the house where Nolan had last been. He walked up, introduced himself, and asked one of the young men, "Would you check your room and see if Nolan's car keys are in there?" The young man went inside, came back a few minutes later, and said he couldn't find them. So Nolan's dad calmly walked the other guys away from the house and waited by Nolan's car. Then his phone rang. Someone told him a young woman had said Nolan's keys were sitting on top of that same young man's Xbox. One of the guys went back to the house, and this time, Nolan's keys came out. Imagine finally holding your son's keys, but still having no idea where your son is.
I walked.
That's tough, bro. That's tough. We ain't saying somebody murdered this person was murdered by that person, but bruh, if this picture is truth, if this picture is real, there's going to be a lot of things we got to get to the bottom of. Holy smokes, my friends. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. We will. Well, let's get back to this guy.
We're not out there searching for their so-called friend. We know that the so-called friends deleted their social media, deactivated their accounts, and scrubbed it clean if the allegations are correct. We know that the young man that had the car at his house did not willingly turn over the keys. At first, he said that he did not have the keys. He didn't know where they were. Then he, after being pressed by the father, he finally turned over the keys. This is all very suspicious activity. We know that based on an audio recording and some video that Nolan Wells can be heard saying, "Give me my freaking keys." Excuse me, "Give me my freaking phone." And there's been two different versions. Some said he said, "Give me my freaking phone," or some say he said, "Give me my MF phone." Regardless, he was asking or demanding his phone. Someone had his phone who did not have permission to have his phone. So the first thing I see, the simplest thing I see is who had his phone and why? And was that theft of the phone? Sometimes we look at the largest case, we try to get to murder, but the person that took his phone committed a crime right there. There are witnesses to who took that phone. If an affidavit is signed, an arrest warrant could be signed by a judge in Mississippi to go after that person that had that phone unlawfully. We know, based on his own words, Nolan Wells' words while he was alive, he did not give whoever had that phone permission to have that phone. So was that theft? I think if an affidavit is signed, if it was presented to me when I was a judge, I would have signed an arrest warrant for the person for theft of that phone, based on what I've heard. It had to be an affidavit format, but if it was presented to me, an affidavit format from law enforcement, I would sign the arrest warrant for, at least at this point, theft of the man's phone. We know who had it. We know who didn't report it to the family. The family had to go find it. And we know that Nolan Wells said, give it back to him. And evidently, it was not given back to him. Why was that?
For fuck's sake, cut!
They cursing now on YouTube ads? This is a different kind of world we live in. They don't give up about nothing no more. They just cursing on YouTube ads now? That's new. My bad, y'all.
Enough right now for arrest warrants for murder? That is a good question. I do know at this point there should have been search warrants signed by a judge. Evidence should have been presented to a judge by now. We are nearly 7 days after July the 4th, when he was first reported missing. There should have been evidence submitted by Jackson County law enforcement agents, the sheriff's department specifically, presented to a judge so that search warrants could be signed by the judge. And there needs to be, or should have been, someone questioning the young men, the three so-called friends, and others, and the social media accounts need to be searched by now, or at least a search warrant should have been issued for the appropriate entities to give the law enforcement access to the social media information. That should have been done by now. I'm not telling you what I imagine. I'm telling you what the process usually is when you're trying to do a thorough investigation. And based on what's revealed from a thorough investigation, I do believe once the evidence is secured, it's going to lead, and it should lead, to the arrest of one or more individuals for the murder of Nolan Wells. All of the actions are very suspicious, and right now they lead one to believe that one or more persons could have been involved with the death of Nolan Wells. Right now we have a lot of unsworn testimony, but once that is put into affidavit format and there is corroborating evidence through social media, computers, or otherwise, I believe that at that point there will be enough.
We'll let you stop right there, big dog, because I got something else I want to get into. Unbiased opinion, somebody who's neutral. Let's hear from him.
And was posted. There are two new photos that are circulating around the internet involving the Nolan Wells case. The first one is this one right here, where allegedly Nolan Wells is seen in the background, and supposedly this was taken on the night he went missing and was posted on Instagram by one of his friends, but then he immediately took it down. Now, keep in mind, this photo was posted by Ben Crump. Now, it was from the community, but obviously he's putting a lot of these stories on a bigger platform. The next screenshot is coming from a woman named Kim Brawley, and someone with the name of White Lotus Living left a pretty damning comment if true. She's alleging that the boat was cleaned at 3 a.m. 3 days ago. All of this information is coming from the Instagram of Ben Crump, which, look, none of this is verified, and I'm going to get to the bottom of these two photos in this video.
I'm Kimberly. I'm a former law professor with a JDLLM,
We watching
a musical artist, a comedian. Okay, now this raises some alarms. I don't know if this is true, but I've just read that they...
Okay, so the allegations are coming from this Instagram account, and pretty much they're saying that the boat that Nolan Wells was last seen in was actually seen being clean in front of Judge Cole's house at 3 a.m., which would be obviously super suspicious if it was happening. So I took it upon myself to see who White Lotus Living is. How would they know this information that not a lot of us know about yet? White Lotus is a small business, and they use their Instagram account for advertising. And after looking them up, you can see that White Lotus Living is an Australian store specializing in wellness, spiritual, and home lifestyle. They sell things like crystals, crystal healing kits, sacred smudge kits, etc. At first I thought, why would a person in Australia know anything about things that are going on in Mississippi? And then I thought, well, maybe the domain is just registered in Australia, right? You see this all the time, especially with drop shipping. And then I looked at their reels and realized that, oh, they're actually doing a in-person showing of their merchandise. And the location is in Kirribilli. And Kirribilli is a place in Australia. Now, why would someone in Australia know anything about what's going on in Mississippi, especially intimate details like that? Or maybe this person just knows that the people that are dumb enough to believe random comments on the internet are probably dumb enough to buy their gems and crystals and those sorts of things, and they're probably just doing a little bit of advertising.
Tell you sisters and brothers, it is the right thing for us.
I'm sorry you had to see that. I just thought it was funny and weird that an attorney is posting hype reels of himself on his Instagram account. Okay, so back to the photo that was posted by Ben Crump that allegedly depicts Nolan Wells in the background in the pool with people on the night he allegedly went missing. Now, they're alleging that this picture was deleted by one of Nolan's friends once, I guess, they found out he went missing. Now, in today's age, it's hard to tell what picture is legit and not, but I still plugged it into Grok Super just in case. And it said that the picture looks mostly real, but has some suspicious elements worth noting, especially the areas you circled in red. Now, I didn't circle anything in red. This is how the picture was put online. Lighting and water glow. The underwater pool lighting creates a strong greenish blue glow on people in the foreground, which is common in night pool photos. However, the transition and how it hits some bodies and faces feels a bit inconsistent or overly uniform in spots. And yeah, I agree. And just look at the way that Nolan's actually looking back at the camera, allegedly, right? It is kind of suspicious. And why is everyone else up close to the camera for the picture? Why do the people in the background, why are they off doing their own thing? Look at the colors between the water, green and blue. I don't know. It doesn't look like a super authentic picture to me. It could be. We just don't know. Remember, a lot of these photos and videos are being amplified by Ben Crump, and he has the money and power to defend himself just in case he gets hit with a defamation case. Because what happens when this case resolves? If these kids are found innocent, we don't know, but if they are, they're going to be going after a lot of people that have been spreading these lies and rumors about them murdering their friend. Just something to keep in mind.
That's a fact. But once again, we won't know the truth and we won't know what really happened until it ultimately comes out. It's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of things to speculate right now. It's a lot of things that we just don't know. But what we do know is a little facts and information that we were getting step by step and what the Mississippi police are not doing.
Evidence for a judge to sign an arrest warrant. I think critical evidence that's missing right now are the results of the autopsy, the state's autopsy and the independent autopsy. That's going to be critical information. And that alone, or that in connection with what's already known, may be enough to lead to an arrest or arrest. We do know at this point, low-hanging fruit. There should be an investigation about the underage drinking, who provided the alcohol. Those individuals could be immediately arrested based on if there was any sworn testimony presented to a judge. I believe a judge could immediately sign an arrest warrant for those who provided alcohol to underage individuals. There's a lot of people and a lot of potential crimes, some misdemeanors and felonies that people could be held accountable for. Was there any boating while intoxicated? Who was the captain of the boat? And what did he allow on his boat? If there were any illegal drugs possessed by anyone, drugs are still illegal. About correct format, affidavit-wise, and there could be arrest warrants for certain crimes issued by now. But for the ultimate crime of murder, it is probably wise to wait to see what the autopsy reveals, or both autopsies reveal, and then parcel that together with all the video footage, all the witness statements taken, any affidavits gathered, and then make a decision, get it all to a judge at that point for a judge to decide whether or not to sign a warrant for the arrest of one or more individuals. It will be very interesting to see what the autopsy shows. There's also the potential for kidnapping. It needs to be looked at whether or not they can get to murder. Was there kidnapping? Was this young man taken somewhere against his will at any point? Was there abuse of a corpse even after he died? So there's a lot of things that need to be looked at from various law enforcement perspectives. Law enforcement has to do their job and get the information to a judge in the right format before a judge can act. Had I still been on the bench, if I wanted to act, I could not act unilaterally. I would have to wait till law enforcement brought me the evidence in the right format before I could sign an arrest warrant, before I could sign a search warrant. And so that's how the process works. That's how the process works. And so I am happy to be a retired judge. I'm always going to shoot it to you straight at night.
Another day, another.
Whew. Yeah, it's another day, another dollar. All right. I tell you that. But man, it's a lot to unpack, bro. Only time will tell. The truth will eventually come out. The truth will eventually set you free. And I mean, at the end of the day, dog, only time will tell once again. On a not so sour note, short intermission. Drake out here got freestyles for days. That's what the shot Alexander on his birthday. Drake out here dropping freestyles.
To everybody here. Too many more nights. To the ones I loved and to the ones I hated. And to the ones that are here to celebrate the greatest. I'm not done. Hold on.
Hold on.
All right. Too many nights. We've had too much fun. We had a lot of fun. Two on a jersey, but we're here for the one. I would have found that too. Yeah. I was thinking that. All right. Two Haleys, obviously.
That's on the Drizzy, man. That's on the Drizzy. We had to, man. We had to go ahead and have a short intermission. Because I know we've been talking about this subject, and this subject is not that fun to talk about because it's, kind of sad in a way. We're talking about somebody who had a loss of life. We're talking about something that at the end of the day, when it happened, it was unexpected. Everybody's giving their opinion. Some people will prove to be right. Some people will prove to be wrong. Some people will end up with a lawsuit or multiple lawsuits. Who knows? Some people will go to jail. Some people won't. The truth will come out at the end of the day. Let's hear from this guy.
If you're following the case of Nolan Wells, you need to hear this brand new information because if it is true, it changes this entire case as a whole. So there's a picture going around that's getting a lot of attention that allegedly shows Nolan at a pool party at his friend's house before 1 a.m. on July 5th, the same night that he reportedly went missing and never returned from the island. And as you may remember, Nolan's parents said in their most recent press conference that when they checked his location on July 5th, he wasn't on the island anymore. And eventually one of Nolan's friend's moms tracked down his phone and brought it to her, but when she looked at it, there were deleted messages, deleted photos, and they even deleted his entire Snapchat history. So this photo was apparently posted on Nolan's friend Evan's Instagram, but later deleted. And in one of the comments under that photo, this person, Alleges Spencer, says she was also at that pool party and Nolan was there as well. She said that Evan did not get into a fight with his friends on the island. He actually came back from the island with his friends to Evan's house and then got into a fight with them. She said she saw his friends arguing with him. They then took his phone, and when he asked for it back, things got physical. And she later saw Nolan on the ground, gasping for air and spitting up blood. And of course, people started questioning her, saying, if you knew all of this, why didn't you notify police? And she said she did. That's how they got his phone, and his keys were on top of his Xbox. And of course, people asked, if he was at the pool party, then how did his body get discovered on the island? And she said, because his friends were trying to cover up what actually happened, but she knows the truth. And she said that the truth is that his friends took him back to the island the next morning around 4 a.m. on July 5th and just left him there before his body was discovered just hours later. And as you may remember, his parents said it was very suspicious that he was found right there on July 6th when they went to the island the day before on July 5th and searched there all day and found nothing. They also said that the girl that Nolan was with on the island said that Nolan had left her and said that he was going to go back on his friend's boat, when his friends are claiming that he stayed back to talk to her. So clearly, one of them is lying. Let me know what you guys think about all of this, but rest in peace to Nolan Wells, and as anything comes out, I'll keep you guys updated.
Lots of twists and turns, man. Lots of ways that you can take this story, lots of ways that you can comprehend this story, but nonetheless, bro, the fact that we're talking about it, that says something. Because at the end of the day, as long as we keep talking about it, the story ain't going to go away. But who knows what's true? Who knows what's false, man? Nobody knows. Only time will tell. Transparency is needed. Transparency is all we want. Transparency is all the family wants.
Six Nation, this week I had the solemn honor in my capacity as head of National Action Network of joining my longtime friend, civil rights attorney Ben Crump, in meeting with the parents of Nolan Wells, the 18-year-old college student who was found dead earlier this week. His body retrieved off the coast of a Gulf Coast island where he was reported missing after a July 4th trip with friends. The parents of Nolan Wells joined me here, along with Attorney Crump, tomorrow night live on Politics Nation. I joined them in calling for a full and independent autopsy. Joining me now with more on this story is MS Now reporter Maya Eglin. Maya, the Jackson County, Mississippi Sheriff's Office officials say foul play isn't suspected in the death of Nolan Wells. But the sheriff has asked for any information, eyewitnesses, or video that could help the investigation. This is after they said there was no foul play expected. Now, the case has attracted national attention. Tyler Perry is helping to pay for the funeral. Colin Kaepernick is helping to pay for an independent autopsy. And Spike Lee joined the family. Ben Crump and I at yesterday's news conference at National Action Network here in New York. Well, what's the latest on the investigation?
There's so many questions here that both family and community members have about Nolan. Again, this is an 18-year-old teenager. His family says that he loves playing football. He brought a lot of humor and joy into his community. I want to catch everyone up to speed as to how we got here and run us through a quick timeline of events that we do know. So July 3rd, that was the last time Nolan's mom, Christine, said that she actually saw her son. She said he made the family a salmon dinner, and then he went on this July 4th trip. This was to Horn Island. It's about 7 to 10 miles off the coast of Mississippi, accessible only by boat. Right. It was a July 4th trip. There's some images that appear to show Nolan on a boat. Some witnesses claim that Nolan wanted to stay behind on this island instead of returning with that same group of people who went there. That evening, when he did not come home, is when Nolan's mother, Christine, reported him missing to police. On July 5th, the family went out, community members went out to search for Nolan by boat. Police also got involved then. And on July 6th, that's when they actually found Nolan's body near Horn Island.
Now, I joined the family and Attorney Crump in their skepticism about various claims that they've been put forward about what allegedly happened. That Nolan Wells volunteered to have his cell phone and keys taken while he stayed behind on the island, and that he couldn't swim despite being a college athlete. Take a listen to this.
The family has distrust of the Mississippi law enforcement officials giving them a fair investigation where their black son ended up dead after going out on a boat with 3 young white men.
We hear that this young man was engaged in some kind of argument that was on tape, that his cell phone and keys ended up with one of the people that were there on the island and got away. He was one black with 3 young white men who happened to end up with his phone, happened to end up with his keys. Then there's just too many questions that they should not be closing the investigation. Maya, can you elaborate on why there's so much distrust here between Nolan Wells' parents, state, and local law enforcement right now?
Rev, I think you said it perfectly. There are too many questions to be closing this off, to be ruling anything out right now. And for officials to say that they expect no foul play before the investigation, before witnesses, before all the physical evidence has really been taken into account is what's causing so many people, including Nolan's family, to be confused here. They are asking for full transparency. This is the reason why they're requesting the independent autopsy, so they'll be able to compare what the state tells them and what this independent autopsy tells them. But time and time again in this country, especially in the South, especially for Black and Brown Americans, we've seen stories like this that are so painful and really hit a nerve, I think, with all Americans, because it's a cycle that keeps repeating. Regardless of the outcome, it is a story and a framework that hits a nerve.
Now, Nolan's mother, Christine, said this wasn't how she wanted her son to be introduced to the world. Take a listen to what she and Nolan's father, Elmer, had to say about his character.
Oh, man.
Nolan is the kindest soul. He never met a stranger. He loved everybody. He didn't care if you were black, white, purple, green, looked like a marshmallow. Like, he just wanted everyone to be in peace with one another.
Nolan is a person with a big heart. He's loved by not just his family, but the community. He's a born people person.
Man. Why is there such a national response to this young man's death? Why is it resonating with Black Americans particularly right now?
Rev, in my opinion, I think we all know someone like Nolan, right? We hear those words from our moms, our dads, our aunts, our cousins about people who have big hearts, people who see the best in others. And I think there's a lot of empathy and sadness when we see these stories repeated over and over again. And that's really why I think so many eyes are on this. Folks don't want this to go out of the news cycle, right? We want answers. There's still so many questions. And until we get those, I think a lot of people are going to be frustrated and putting pressure on local and federal officials to give some insight into what happened here.
And I believe that's what the family wants, answers, which is why they got people like Ben Crump and me and National Action Network and others involved.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people, Byron Allen has come in and said he's helping with the family. It's something that is in accord. Thank you to MS Now reporter Maya Eglin. And as we mentioned, tomorrow on the show, we will talk to the parents of Nolan Wells together with their attorney, Benjamin Crump. All are still looking for answers. That is Sunday night. They'll be live right here on Politics Nation. Coming up.
Oh, man. God dang. God dang, man. It's tough, bro. Sad. There's more, though. My bad, y'all.
Authorities have said they suspect that the 18-year-old drowned. And a county coroner's autopsy showed no signs of trauma. Still, Nolan Wells' parents have doubts about eyewitness accounts that they say conflict. And as they await the results of the independent autopsy on their son's body, and dozens of peaceful protesters took to the streets in Jackson County last night, demanding a full investigation. As president of the National Action Network, I joined them in that call. and I will join Nolan's parents next week to speak at their son's funeral. But joining me now are Nolan's parents, Christine and Elma Wansley. Christine, Elma, we appreciate your strength tonight. We've seen peaceful protests and solidarity with you and your family, and I know from spending time with you, you're not activists, you're not interested in being on TV, but you want what is right for your son. And we've seen members of your community, people that knew Nolan, speak to what kind of young man he was. And we've seen people like Tyler Perry and Colin Kaepernick and Byron Allen and thousands of others donate to various financial needs you have right now. Christine, have you been able to take anything from that goodwill as you go through this?
It's one of those situations where it warms my heart, right? Like it warms my heart, but also my heart is still very broken. But to see that people are so willing to assist us, help us in any way that they can.
These don't look like bitter people. These don't look like people that's just trying to stir up a story. These just look like parents and a father who just tired. His son is gone, who he can never get back. They can care less. They ain't no activists. Don't you think they'll rather have their son here than go through this? Who wants the attention if their son ain't here? They would have rather have seen him on his draft day get this much attention because he went #1 overall or in the first round because he got drafted. They'll rather that be the way his son was introduced into the world. Don't question these people and their motives. They're just looking for justice, whatever it looks like. And they want answers.
I'm so appreciative. And I've always said, even in my post on social media, like, hey, if you cannot donate to the GoFundMe, which I understand because financially times are hard for people, just send us some prayers. That's the biggest thing. Just send us some prayers. At this point, we're willing to accept any help whatsoever, but it has just been such a blessing. And I'm just so grateful to everyone who, whether they've donated, sent up prayers, DoorDash orders, just all of that. We're just incredibly grateful to everybody.
And you, Elma, have you been able to take any solace from the support you and Christine have received?
Yes, it's a very good feeling just to see all the love that my son had from the community and his friends. So people always will come in and say, "Oh, your son is a great guy," individual here and there. But to actually see that he really touched a lot of people during his time here, and it's just a great feeling to know how much of a people person he was. Nolan was really a people person and could light up a room with his personality and his character. So he would truly be missed.
Now, between social media and some interviews I've seen with parents in Jackson County, Black America has responded emotionally to this tragedy, both what you're going through and the circumstances surrounding Nolan's death. Some have echoed your admitted lack of trust or concern in aspects of the Mississippi law enforcement to investigate in good faith. So, Christine, along with the concern that race may or may not have played a role in what happened beforehand, do you think investigators feel the pressure that is happening so they'll take this seriously?
That's the hope, because the concern is when it first happened, right? It was kind of straight out the gate, like, hey, this is what we're thinking, but yet there's been no full investigation. At that point, investigation, I don't even think had started. And so to come out publicly and state that, that's kind of where and the concern for how's this investigation going to go? Once again, I have said it in pretty much every single interview. I've stated it on my personal social media. The only thing we're asking for is just a thorough, honest, clean investigation. We just want to know what happened to our son. Like, I think that, again, any parent in America, or even just any person.
That's it. That's it. They just want to know what happened to their son, bro. They're not looking for any clout. They ain't looking to stir up no race wars. Bruh. It's just parents looking for what the hell happened with their son, with their kid, dog. Come on, bro. Why did he not return with his friends? That's the #1 question. Because if you remember, he didn't return with his friends because guess what his friends said? They last saw him at 3 p.m. Warren was interviewed by Jackson County Sheriff's Police Department and corroborated fully. Warren was interviewed with Jackson State's County Sheriff's Department and corroborated fully. Okay. He saw Nolan last around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taken on water and they had an issue with the bilage pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. He last saw Nolan at 3 p.m. They left around 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. Okay. But then why was it reported that some people saw y'all? Why is it reported that potentially he was at a party at one of y'all houses? Why is all these conflicting reports coming out? How did he die? Why was his phone and keys off the island? If him and his body washed up on the island, why wasn't his phone and his keys on the island with him? Okay, his keys, yeah, he could have left the keys at his homie house. Yeah, that's factual. But his phone? If y'all was any smart criminals, you would have just left his phone on his person, on his body. Now it's been reported that he got in a fight with one of y'all. Now it's been reported that this and that.
If your loved one goes missing, you want to know what has happened.
Christine, both you and your husband have talked about how gregarious Nolan was, how much he enjoyed people and seemed to value accord. You said in Friday's press conference that he was not how you wanted the world to meet your son. What else do you want us to know about him?
He was God-fearing. He had faith. Again, God took his time with him. He was rare. You don't meet too many people like him, especially in the day and time that we live in, who is just so full of joy and light and really just wants everyone to come together. And it's very disheartening, the discourse, the comments on social media, like the lack of empathy, and that people are taking our pain and this situation as a joke. And just us simply asking, like what happened has triggered so many people, which is crazy because, again, especially if you're someone who has children, you would want to know. But he was a light. Like he was just walk into a room and just his personality would get in the room before he would. He just wanted everyone to be happy. That was his biggest thing. He just wanted everyone to be happy.
Elma, it struck me as we spent time in my office at National Action Network talking that you were not activists, you were not looking for a cause. Okay. But the fact that he was not there, he was missing. Then all of a sudden, his cell phone and his keys are somewhere that they had not voluntarily brought back to you, and law enforcement was saying there was no foul play. You were just operating as parents. That's why you'd reach out, or you would talk to someone like Ben Crump and later me. You were not looking for a cause, but things just didn't add up. You were saying, Elma.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Like my wife said, the day that it happened, she prayed that the right people who we put in our lives to help us with this, and he answered our prayers. Ben Crump got in contact with us, and his team has really helped us move this along. I really believe if we didn't have him, I don't know where this investigation would be.
Yeah, and through the support of our friends who have assisted with so many things, we have like our own almost like a little crisis team. They have been phenomenal in making sure that we're getting, the information out, making sure, we're set up with meetings, and then like Elmore said, it really has been a godsend. And at that juncture, once again, I think anybody would accept any help. We were literally asking for any help. We were desperate.
Yeah. And I might add, you said you want everybody that would come out to be peaceful. You said, make sure y'all keep emphasizing peaceful. And many of the ones that came out today were white. This is not that only one side has responded, but everybody's saying this just does not add up. We want to see justice here.
That is it. Like, that is the bottom line. People can make whatever assumptions they want, but when it comes down to it, we would give all the money back. We would give the gift, everything that everyone has done for us. We would give that all back just to have him back.
Yes.
I'll have to leave it there. Thank you for giving us this. And this is the first interview you did without a lawyer. So you trusted me, but I felt you when we sat in our office. Thank you to Nolan's parents, Christine and Elma Wansley. I will continue to pray for you, and I'll be joining you later on in the week.
Ah, man. Yeah, dog. I mean, if we being honest, we being truthful, we telling the truth. Like, it's a simple thing, bro. They want answers. They want answers, dog. That's it. That's all. Answers. A lot of people saying this, a lot of people saying that. We shall see what happens. But if the picture of Nolan Wells at that pool If that picture turns out that it's a real picture, if that picture turns out that it's true, and this is an incense, stop playing with me. I know how I feel about my incense. Oh, actually, no. We on Relly Jim's live. Okay. So y'all might not know how I do it with my incense. I'll grab the incense in 2 seconds. But man, oh man, holy Xavier Wells, man. Nolan Xavier Wells. We just want answers. Nolan's father. This is key, what he said. He wasn't met with resistance. But, oh man, hold on. Where's my full video? Hold on, y'all. Bear with me now. I got something for you. Let's get into it. From the press conference. Oh, why do I always do this? I set myself up every time.
So right now, I need to kind of trust him so I can give me something. So I'll take coming down. So the guy, he's one of the he came out of the room, I had sleep with the hair, in Jackson, and I said, I'm going to talk. I'm going to do the questions. Okay, so the situation with the key. When we got to the house, Bill's friends, they were already there, and they were at the door in the house asking questions. So when I walked up, they were looking kind of tense. So I turned to them and said, I need you guys to calm down. I'm going to do this right now. I need them to.
Hold on, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. Did I speed this up? Yeah. And it's already low as hell. Be patient, y'all. I'm going to bless y'all up, man. All right, because this is going to be key in the investigation. What father say?
Bill's friends, they were already there, and they were at the door in the house asking questions. So when I walked up, they were being, looking kind of tense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I'm going to do this to you right now. I need them to kind of trust me so I can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's one of the pictures. He came out of the room, had a sleep or whatever, in Jackson, and I said, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys. His car. I said, his car was in New York. His car was parked in New York. So he was like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I said, well, no.
Not going to lie to y'all, that audio is horrible. Oh my goodness. But regardless, though, I hope you heard a little bit of it. He didn't say he ran into some resistance getting his son keys back. But why did boys say his keys wasn't there when they was there? Yeah, dog. A little spooky out here, man. But at the end of the day, we will get to the bottom of it. We will get to the bottom of it. She did a great job. Let's hear from her.
Debrief from Harlem, where we just heard from the family of Nolan Wells. They were here with Ben Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton. We actually just saw Spike Lee leave as well. I want to point out to you just really quickly a few of the things, questions they want answered, and the discrepancies they're trying to reconcile in the death of their son, Nolan Wells, who died 4th of July weekend in Mississippi while boating with friends. So the first thing is they say he had no Snapchat. For whatever reason, his whole Snapchat had been deleted, which is very much not like him. So they want to know what happened to all of those images and memories. And let's just run it back because they say the phone changed hands a couple times, went from some person to another person to a parent. So they don't really know how the phone was separated from their son. And here's the big thing. The two different discrepancies, whether he stayed behind on the island because the boat was taking on water or if he stayed behind with a friend, they said they were families that actually camped out on Horn Island that night. And if Nolan had stayed behind, he could have asked for help from the two families who were behind on the island. So those are the questions that they're trying to get answered.
You see, this was at the press conference. She was actually at the press conference. The internet only has so much of a press conference. And that's the question that's not being asked. Let's rewind it.
Discrepancies, and the reason why they're seeking answers is because they just want. So this is your debrief from Harlem.
Jesus Christ. So she said there were families camped out at Horn Island that night. Families camped out at Horn Island that night. If there's families camped out that night, I said this earlier, nobody saw them. Nobody would have been willing to help them. Just asking for a friend.
Big thing. The two different discrepancies, whether he stayed behind on the island because the boat was taking on water or if he stayed behind with a friend, they said they were families that actually camped out on Horn Island that night. And if Nolan had stayed behind, he could have asked for help from the two families who were behind on the island. So those are the questions that they're trying to get answered. Discrepancies, and the reason why they're seeking answers is because they feel like it was a rush to judgment, just saying it was an accidental drowning. But you have all of these other circumstances that they find suspicious. And the other thing is his father, Elmore Wansley, was like, when I went to go get his keys. So let me take it back. So he had spent the night with those friends on the 3rd and then went out with them on the boat on the 4th. And so he went to go get his car because that's where he had spent the night. And he says, the family, the boys were like, we don't have the keys. We don't have his keys. And then one of the friends called back and says, yes, his keys are right there on the Xbox. And they just didn't understand why they were being stonewalled by his friends when he went to go pick up his car. So, and their biggest thing was this: we're parents. Look, we're parents. We want to know why our son didn't come home. That's just all. We're not even assigning any culpability yet, but we want to know why our son did not come home, which should be relatable to any parent. So that's your debrief from Darla today, the family of Nolan Wells in New York City, in Harlem, with Al Sharpton at the National Action Network House of Justice. We saw Spike Lee leaving. He apparently.
So there you have it. Broken down again. One last time. We will get to the bottom of the story. We will figure out what really happened. And at the end of the day, we will continue to bring awareness to the story. But I just want to continue going back to what this judge said. Warren was interviewed by Jackson County Sheriff Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taking on water. When they had an issue with the barrage pump, Nolan made the decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. Yes, I'm a judge. Transparency, blah, blah, blah. Clickbait, blah, blah, blah. Yes, yes, yes. Miss Ashley Nicole, God bless you. We're going to get to the bottom of this, though. We're going to get to the bottom of it. But remember that statement. Remember that statement. Just throwing it out there. God bless you. Hope y'all enjoyed today's discovery. We will get to more. We'll talk about more. But hey, we have to talk about it. We have to get into it. And yes, hey, rest in heaven, Nolan Wells. We're going to figure out what really happened. If you drown, you drown. But if it was foul play, may justice be served. And hey, poetic justice may be served. Eventually, though. Eventually. Hey, we laugh now, really.